Hello everybody, Storm here. Today I am going to be bringing you guys a video of the very basics of Guild Wars 2 and its interfaces and what stats are. Obviously, with the recent influx of players coming into the core game for free with the expansion date being announced as well, obviously there are a lot of people coming into PvP wondering what is going on, what all these stats mean, how you get into matches, what are the difference between unranked and ranked, and today I am going to answer those questions for you guys. So getting started, we're going to take a look at the two main menus of PvP. We've got the PvP build menu located up here. We're going to give you guys a rundown first of the attributes that each of all of the classes have as a whole. So taking a look at these, obviously they kind of play in with each other. The left ones kind of go with the right in some way or another, so we'll take a look at them like that. The first one is power. Obviously, power increases your attack. That would be your physical damage. Over on the right side, it is actually, this one does not have anything to do with power, is essentially based upon whichever class you are running, so it'll vary with each of the classes. Toughness increases your armor, which would reduce your incoming physical damage from enemies. Vitality will increase your health, which, you know, obviously mitigates against physical damage, but as a whole, it's kind of thought to be the counter to condition damage. Next up, precision, which increases your crit chance, which is shown right here, 30.66%, for example. Ferocity increases how hard your crits actually hit. So the higher that is, the harder your crits will hit. Next up, condition damage, which will obviously increase how hard your conditions tick on your enemies. Your condition duration is how long they will, how much extra they will last. Healing power increases how much your heals will affect yourself and allies. And finally, boon duration will increase the longevity of your boons. Taking a look at what we have up here are your weapons, which can be changed. It will show on the left-hand side here. Right below them are the sigils, which go along with each weapon set as a whole. So just taking a quick look at what these sigils are. They can affect base stats through passives, but they are definitely not defining a role of a player. They kind of play along with the weapon sets as a whole, but they make a difference, but sometimes they're just not the biggest of differences like your boons and amulets. So let's take a quick look at a couple of them here. You can categorize these by category or alphabetically. I think for newer players it's a little bit easier to do by category here, which is what appears on my screen. So taking a look at some of these here. Chance on critical hit. For example, the Sigil of Air, 50% chance on a critical hit. It'll cause a lightning strike, and there's an internal cooldown of 3 seconds on it. So it's just a damage modifier increase. It'll give out an extra, lightning strike rather of damage onto your enemies. Another one on weapon swap. Gain 2 stacks of might on a 20-second. They last for 20 seconds. The might stacks do when you swap to this weapon while in combat on a 9-second cooldown. So see, they don't really affect your stats as a whole. They're really not going to define your build. Runes, however, they do somewhat define your build, more so than sigils, way more than sigils. These are categorized by stats as a whole that we listed down here. Each one kind of has a main role. For example, the power one, its main stat is power. If we look at a couple of others like vitality, its main stat is vitality, and like healing power, main stat is healing. But they have added benefits to them as a whole. So like your pack runes, they increase your power, but they also increase swiftness duration. You can kind of just go through those and read what they say. But essentially, they are categorized by whichever stat you are mainly trying to get. And finally, your amulet. Your amulet does define your role more or less, as well as your specializations, which we'll get into in a minute. But it essentially is going to control how much health, how much toughness, how much power you have as a whole, more or less. So taking a look at a few of them, obviously, if you're wanting to run a very glass cannon build or something that hits really hard, you're going to go to a power amulet. And not all of these are the same, obviously, in that taking a look at Berserker amulet. 1200 power, meaning you're going to hit much harder than if you were running the Marauder amulet, which is 1050 power. Not that much harder, but it is a decent amount of extra power. It also has 900 precision, which increases your crit chance, as well as 900 ferocity. Now, if I click it, obviously my power is going to spike up, but I am going to lose a lot of these other stats that I have with the Celestial Amulet. So that is why I am obviously using Celestial Amulet for this situation. But taking a look at the second tab here, we have the specializations. Currently there are 5 for each class. With Heart of Thorns there will be 6. You will just click one and you will essentially go through you're going to want to read through all of the different added benefits of these stat lines. I highly suggest, as a new player, you just run through these and see what each one does to kind of make your build in of what you want it to be as a whole. So taking a look at the second menu we have up here, play PvP. Obviously exiting the PvP lobby will take you into wherever you were last before you came into PvP. Playing unranked and ranked. Some people are kind of confused on the difference between these. Currently, the difference between ranked and unranked is very minimal in that the only difference is the map pool at this current point in time. This is before Heart of Thorns. We don't know what Heart of Thorns is going to do with it, so we'll have to just wait and see. But currently, unranked includes all 7 maps, and ranked only has the core 4 competitive maps, being Forest of Niflhel, Legacy of the Foefire, Battle of Kylo, and Temple of the Silent Storm, while unranked will also include Spirit Watch, Skyhammer, and Courtyard. Courtyard is the only 5v5 deathmatch map. The rest are conquest maps. Now, right below it will show your rank and how far you are to progressing to the next rank. We also have a nice little pie chart over here with some different ways to categorize your wins by profession, etc., and also some nice stats down here. Kind of neat to look at as a whole. Below this is the reward tracks, which you just click on this thing, and you can activate reward tracks at any different reward track at any different time you would like. However, some of them are locked, and if you click the lock tab, you will see which ones they are, and if you just hover over it, it'll show you exactly what you need to do to unlock them. They're available to everybody. Everybody can unlock them. There's really nothing too special towards these. And if I'm not mistaken, most of these are in a rotation. If they are locked, they will come available to you for a certain amount of time at some point in time. Now, right below that is the game browser. Now, the game browser is kind of important. It kind of has a couple different things in it. First off, it has custom arenas. Now, custom arenas are arenas that players own, and they choose to make them into scrimmage lobbies, 1v1 lobbies, many different things. You can browse through them. Some of them are open to the public. Some of them are private, and they have passwords on them that you'll need to know to get into them. Now, the second type are hot join arenas. Hot join arenas are basically a tier below ranked and unranked play, in that it's not even all the time. You can have 3v5s, you can have 2v5s, you can have 4v5s, and it'll try and adjust the teams throughout the match. But as a whole, they're really not even necessarily. They're more or less for people to go in there and possibly get their daily rewards, try new builds, or if you're new to PvP, a lot of people will come into these hot joins and try out these before going into an unranked or ranked map, and not only affecting their own win-loss ratio, which some people really do care about a lot, but also possibly making some other people upset that they just started the game. They don't want to go in there and be like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, guys. Sorry if I lose the game for you. So if I were you and I were coming into Guild Wars 2, I wouldn't say that playing in a hot join is a great idea at first, but if you are very unfamiliar with how the combat system works and you haven't spent a whole lot of time in PvE or World vs. World, at least getting the basics of combat down, I would highly suggest coming into one of these hot join servers, joining a side, and just even if you don't know a build, at least getting used to the combat mechanics of Guild Wars 2, because it is vastly different from that of any other MMO. So the hot join servers are the ones that say server followed by 3 digits. They're listed throughout here. Obviously, it shows how many players there are. Usually, you want to go into one that has under 10 players, because most of them that have over 10 players will be full, and you'd have to wait to get a spot in those. But oftentimes, there are a lot of spectators and people that aren't playing, so it really varies upon which server you're in. But for the most part, like I said, I would suggest going into those if you have not, familiarized yourself with the combat of Guild Wars 2, and then possibly start in an unranked or ranked arena. Because, like I said, right now, those two arenas have absolutely no difference aside from the map pool. I know a lot of players like to do it ranked, because a lot of players don't like the unranked maps of being Spirit Watch, Skyhammer, and Courtyard. So essentially, guys, that is the gist of all you need to know for Guild Wars 2 PvP in the fashion of the menus, what stats are, and how to get into a match. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Other than that, guys, I will be having another video about explaining how the maps work and their secondary mechanics. Stay tuned for that, guys, and I hope to see you then.